Can we do more?
Keep the bowl going.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit more.
We have a reference note.
Did all my chakras just align right now? I think they did.
I can see the energy, like when you're up on it. I can see the
Thank
energy
you,
coming off the
thank
fucking bowl, like as I'm still like in
Oh,
it.
that's
It's
great.
yeah,
so
it's like you can see it
much.
vibrating. So
I'm
that
so
was-
excited.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
of
so
course.
excited. Today
Absolutely.
we have Ian Crawford and Alethea. Crawford she's always
I'm
with
just
us.
here.
Miss Alethea. Alethea's always she's the connector. And her husband Ian.
I'm here right now.
Thank you for coming in with us, Ian, dropping in.
Hey, no problem. Happy to be here.
Woo!
Yeah.
And in case you hadn't figured it out, Ian is an incredibly talented musician, and probably, I guess probably that's what you're most known for is your your musical gifts that you share with all of us. Like I feel like that's like the thing that like everybody knows you for.
I would assume, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm usually putting out there.
Yeah, so super talented, and we're lucky we get to call him a friend who's
Thank
hanging
you.
out with us today, and thanks
for
for
having
sharing
me.
some time, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
So, tell us a little bit about like what got you from point A to point B. Like, what was childhood like, and whatever you want to share with us. Just jump in.
Childhood. What was childhood? Okay. Wow. Diving in. Well, I mean, sticking kind of, I guess, from like a musical perspective. I started music in childhood. I started playing the drums when I was 10. And,
Oh, wow.
And then guitar at 11 a year later.
Oh, wow.
So. But I actually, you know, I have this kind of theory. So I'm one of those people that I don't know if people have heard the term like perfect pitch, where you can like hear notes,
yeah.
kind of like just like my lovely wife here just played the singing bowl, and I just okay, I know that's like roughly around a G. What is known in music as G on a page, you know. And so you know, tuned to it, you move around to it. And so it's like, but like kind of pulling that note out of thin air, knowing what it is and where it is like a thing that some people have. And when I was very young, and when I got screened for like kindergarten, they found out I was like very blind, like extremely blind. So I was like the one kid they pulled away, and they're like, and I just always kind of thought the world was blurry. You know, my first like 5 years of my life, and so, you know, and it was. I kind of adapted around it, so I think that's my theory, like knowing like when people lose a sense or you know like the other one's heightened. So that's my theory too, because I'm past legal blindness. You know, I got contacts in. Even with my contacts, I can't see.
I never even knew that.
Fully 20/20, but it gets me through. I can. You know.
And they found out that he had perfect pitch in music class.
I was gonna say actually, like, so walk us a little bit more about what that means, like for somebody that doesn't know.
Well,
what perfect pitch is.
It's the ability, like I guess it's the ability to pull out a frequency from thin air and know what it is musically. I guess that's the way we interpret it. It's basically just like knowing how, like if I hear a door creak, I can tell you, well, that's like a B flat. You know, it's like roughly within the vicinity of what we in Western music. You know, like we structured pitch. You know, like we like put it into a series of lines and notes that we put on a page, or like like frets on an instrument. So it's organized. So like it's basically just the like and I kind of just starting to play the guitar. I would I was learning like Nirvana and stuff like that, and be like, oh, well, that's like the note from that song, And I just would kind of know, I've heard this song, you know, I grew and like, I listened to, like, my parents would had music on in the house all the time. So I was always listening to anything from like Green Day to the Grateful Dead, you know, like all the time.
Wow.
And so it's just like all these songs, I'd be like, because I started picking up the instrument, oh, like that's the note to this song and this song and this song and this song, and I just knew it right away. And then like that's the note to this song and this song and this song right away. And I thought that was just something you did. And so I was in 7th grade in my band class, and I was playing the drums. I was in like the concert band, and I was like up in the back, like, you know, they have like the symphonic band. I was like up in the back, and our instructor, she was a horn player, and so she in music basically she was showing the trumpets something, and in music a trumpet's C, what they note is like the note C, is the what's called concert pitch, which is the actual like pitch like on a piano or something like a trumpet C is B flat. So I heard the note B flat, and I raised, and she kept saying C, and I was really confused by it because I was like, I was probably playing like Johnny Be Good or something, something in B flat, you know, and I would like hear that note, and I'm like, why? And I raised my hand, like, isn't that note B flat, not C? And she's just like, and she looks at me really weird. She's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, the note that he's playing, like that you're having him play, isn't that a B flat? Like I'm hearing B flat, and everyone's like looking at me like what are you talking about? Like, and she's like, but she knew like that's like the pitch was B. So she's like, you can see she's like the gears are kind of turning. So she's like, turn your back to everybody. So she starts going over to the piano and hitting all these notes. Like, what's this note? Like, this is D. Oh, this is C sharp. This is, you know, this is A flat. You know, and everyone's just like, how did you do that? And I'm like, I just thought you could do it. I just like, you know, and I'd only been playing music for like not even 2 years. And I've only been playing a melodic instrument for maybe a year. So I was just kind of trying to figure out, you know, like stuff from songs I knew, but I knew what they are, you know, like it's just all about the organization of it. But then the more, and it's the way I kind of
crazy.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Like it's a blessing and a curse. If you
really?
Yeah, it's like because you not when you hear things. When you hear things that are jarring to your ear, like everyone's ear hones in on different things and likes it, but things that are like very because there's different kind, like you can like I love blues music, and I grew up listening to music that was like was from that category or a evolutionary result of blues. Like a lot of, and so a lot of that music, especially in like blues singing, is like about that struggle. You know, it's like getting to the you're trying to push to the like where you're going, and that creates that feeling. So like I feel really lucky because like I feel like from an early age I was very into that. What is on a page is like ever so slightly imperfect. It's very human to me. It's very like, so I feel like because I had a lot of instructors once I kind of knew what I could do with that were like, oh, we want to get you like I had teachers like throughout my school career like wanting to have like, oh, you really should dive into studying classical music and doing these things, and I never really, it was, I mean, I love classical music, and I find it very wonderful to listen to, and I love hearing my wife play it on her violin, you know, but I just, it was not like the direction I wanted to go artistically and musically, and I knew I wanted to be an artist with my instrument. That was something that was very embedded in me from a very early age. I knew I wanted to do it. I begged my parents for a couple of years to get an electric guitar, and you know, I was young, so it took a couple of years of them being like, okay, well, he's not like just gonna like put it in the corner. You know, they finally, after like 3 years of like begging, I got one for Christmas.
And to show you how dedicated Ian is to his perfect pitch, we'll send him farts every now and again and have him tell us what pitch it's
Yeah, it's true.
Or we'll be out the door, like we'll hear like a car horn or a door creak.
He's like, that sounded like an A minor.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. A minor would be more than 2 notes. It would be more than 1 note. So it'd be like an A. Yeah, single. Unless if you can fart harmonically, that would be.
That's talented.
That would be impressive.
I have the food downstairs to work on.
You know, it'd be really funny is that like you could do like 2 people like farting and like at the same time, and I mean any 2 notes is harmony. So I mean, it doesn't have to be like in sync or anything.
We can just do a mix.
Yeah, some harmonic spark music.
Binary beats with parts.
Yeah.
Harmonic.
You guys are really funny. You guys are really funny.
All right, so you got yourself to, so you got into perfect pitch. So you learned about perfect pitch in high school?
Well, I learned. I learned about it in 7th grade when like my instructor told me about
That
it.
was 7th
and
grade.
I kind of like, in some ways, I had to. Well, 'cause it's tricky because like I kind of try to like put it away in my head a little bit because I like, especially being a singer, because like having that and hearing yourself sing when you can't sing I had to do that for years. And just had to like tune it out. Like, I know I'm getting there. I know that I'm off. I know I'm like horribly off.
You figured out your range, like you're able to do the range. Do you have? You taught yourself that, like you didn't just have natural singing ability.
No.
I
would definitely say like that's a fresh thing. Like vocally is still very fresh.
Within like how long?
I mean, being like a lead singer and like 5-6 years. Like not very long. I mean, I naturally was pretty good. I had a friend in a band in high school who was really good at singing harmonies. So like I kind of studied him, and so I became. But actually, that kind of taught me how to like get the technique to be like a lead vocalist. But like because I'd be having to sing like notes higher than and like in harmony than the person singing the melody. So I was kind of but I was like, I was kind of shy about it. Like I could match the pitch in the background. I don't really want my voice in the forefront.
Yeah.
And so, like kind of learning how to like develop the tone and the strength and the consistency of it. It's been a fresh thing.
Yeah, walk us through that journey. Like, what was that like? Getting the confidence to be able to do that.
Oh,
Like,
man.
how long did you have to work at it? And
Still
what were
am.
demons like?
Never ends.
Really?
Were
Yep.
you singing at any point in those years? Because I know when you got a little bit older, like around like 15, you started like playing at bars, right? Like,
Yeah,
they were,
I
like,
was trying.
sneaking you in,
Yeah,
or, like,
yeah. I was like 13 or 14 when I started playing in like Smokey Barker bars with my guitar teacher, which it was amazing. Like it was like my
They were
parents.
like had to sneak you into the
Yeah,
bar.
yeah, because I lived in the Seattle area, and so like in the state of Washington, if you were underage, you could legally be on stage. You could legally play in a bar at the time. I don't think you can anymore, but if you were to or from the stage or on stage, you could be in the bar. But there, so a lot of the time I would just sit out. Like my parents would hang out. They'd watch my guitar teacher's band and like hang out, and I just wait in the car and do my homework or play my Game Boy or one of those,
wow.
or probably play my guitar more than anything. Just
Wow.
warm up, trying to like. We were just playing a lot of 12-bar blues and stuff like that, which is like kind of like how I learned to kind of like cut my teeth, and
All
like,
right, well,
What's
show
it- like,
us
what
some.
kind
Show us a little bluesy.
related. 12 bars. So that's your one chord. Back to the one chord. So that kind of there's tons of songs. Johnny Be Good. There's a lot of that have that just like it's gonna go to the other chord, it's gonna go back, and then it's gonna go to the one, and it's just that blues progression.
So it's like you have a playground, and you're like,
Yeah, I mean, and it's a starting point for a lot of songs and in rock and roll music and blues music and all sorts of music, really. Like just what I mean, like Louie, like what's the key is Louie, like it's just those 3-chord jammers, and a lot of times they're derived from that, but like it kind of just depends, and then people take those things and they mold them, they make them their own, and it's all, I got 12 pitches in various octaves, and then it's all.
So you guys cover a lot of classic rock, but your love is like at the base, it's all blues. That's where you.
I would say over anything, because like the blues is where that all comes from. I mean, in many ways, in most ways. So like, that's, like Sunhouse, Robert Johnson, a lot of those guys. Like just like here, just Howlin' Wolf. I loved listening to that stuff as a kid, and I don't remember really how I got into this mentality of it. But from a very early age, I got into this thing where I found something I liked, and I wanted to like reverse engineer it.
Mm-hmm.
Like because like here's something that would sound like it, or something else from something else I like that. Oh, I kind of see where they got this from, like, because this is clearly from before. This was later. Like I can see where they got a little, or maybe got a little hint of influence. So I was like very like hell bent on trying to make my own sounds. So and like I wanted to try to just go back and kind of almost like a history report of breaking like a family tree, you know, like a lineage, and figure out like, okay, well, where's this all coming from and why, and like, so I got really into like the history and the time periods of music and like the instruments from those time periods. Like this is an early 1965 Fender Stratocaster. That was like, you know, this is pretty much the same guitar off the bench from the Fender factory, handmade, that Jimi Hendrix used in his BBC debut.
Wow.
You know, it's like the same, you know, Sunburst, same year Strat from the same place, made on the same
That's so
hands.
cool.
You know, so those things, and I get really into like the just the history and what was going on at the time of the music, and like what was influencing the music historically and culturally.
And you've got a guitar that was played by Stevie Ray Vaughan too.
I have my this guitar, and then I have another old Fender, a 1960 Telecaster that I got while working in Seattle at Emerald City Guitars, great music shop up there. And so it's long story short, it was the guy had it. He had it for a long time, and I got to talk to him on the phone after I bought the guitar from him, and he's a long-time customer in front of the shop. And so he just told me all these stories, and he told me the story. He met Stevie Ray Vaughan, and he picked her out and had his mitts on it for a little while.
Oh, wow.
And so it was pretty neat, and it's a cool story. It's probably too long to tell in a podcast.
Well,
Wow.
Take as much time as you want. Guys. You're going to do whatever you want with it. Like,
in that
It's a
like
fascinating
realm
story.
of
Wow.
topic, you know, you're really connected to that era and different people of that era, and I've had like many conversations with you that you feel certain connections to certain artists, and we've said in the past that Ian feels like he has fragments of Jimi Hendrix's soul in him.
Yes.
And I think that's really interesting.
Something like that. You
Well,
know, I have a
it's
connection
not-
to him. I've always felt, you know, like I've always felt a connection
Yeah.
to Hendrix.
But I think it's interesting to have like, because I've felt connected to different places, and I'm like, I don't wonder. I think that we can have, you know, fragments of
Oh, of
different
course,
souls.
absolutely.
Groups,
Which
soul
is
Look,
groups.
That's
They're
mojo
all-
to me.
For
It's
sure.
a collective
That's what I
consciousness.
define as mojo.
They are all us. Like,
Yeah.
that is you. Jimi Hendrix is you.
Yeah.
Ian is Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix is Ian.
I am, he is, you are we, and
Right,
Yeah.
well,
we're
that's
all
like,
Yes.
if you look at it that way, you're just meeting yourself.
Yeah, and I think
fragments
it's
of you already.
It's, you know, I grew up in the next town over from where he was born and lived as a kid, and then I lived right down the street from where he's buried.
What a crazy
Oh
rich
my
So
music
God.
history.
So I used to
Whoa.
go over and hang out at his grave
Oh my god.
all the time with my guitar and just hang out and just kind of chat with him. You know, just be there alone, just kind of, you know,
Whoa.
smoke a doob and
Whoa.
you know.
Whoa.
And so, and, you know, and just
Whoa.
being from that area, maybe that harnesses a little bit of that energy. But like,
For sure.
I was playing with a band a couple years before COVID, I think, and we they opened up just southeast of downtown Seattle. They opened up Jimi Hendrix Park,
Wow.
and my band played at it, and I ended up playing the national anthem, kind of the Jimmy-ish style national anthem, and his sister and
Sounds like
family
you're
were there,
aligned
so I
with
played
Jimi
for the
Hendrix.
Hendrix family, and
Oh, that's amazing.
and which was really amazing. It was a really big honor, you know, to be there, like kind of christening that moment and get to do something that was kind of a nod to Hendrix, because he.
How old were you at the time?
I was probably like 28 or 29 when that happened. It was like probably
awesome.
like, it was shortly before COVID, so like 6-7 years ago, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago.
You talk about fascinating songs though. Like, was it Sir Mix-a-Lot to you? Was like, who was it that grew up down there? That was down.
Oh
the
yeah,
street from
Sir
you?
Mix-a-Lot lived. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm from Auburn,
That's
and
great.
Sir Mix-a-Lot lives in Auburn, Washington.
What are the goddamn chances?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
He
what
lived
the world?
like 5 minutes from my house that I had there for a while when I moved back to the city for a bit.
That's fine.
So yeah, I played with some guys for a long time growing up that were his backup band. So I was supposed to play. One of them was getting married, and we were supposed to play Mix-a-Lot was gonna come in, and we all like learn and rehearse Baby Got Back, and we were gonna do it, and something came up and he couldn't make his wedding, so he wasn't there. But I was supposed to do it.
It was kind of hilarious because we were at one of your shows one night and somebody like requested that off, and you guys actually played it, and you're like, yeah, and like afterwards, like, oh, you knew that? And he's like, yeah, actually, Sir Mix-a-Lot grew up down this, like he was right down the street for like 5 minutes. We were gonna do a gig together or something. I was like, what the?
Yeah.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
So, so where you're at in your journey, so you've got perfect pitch, you've got, I actually wanted to go hit on something that I thought was interesting. Like, I didn't realize that you had a struggle with like getting up and singing and being a lead singer and all that stuff. Like, so what was like your very first time? Like, how, like, was it horrible to fucking be a part of it, or was it?
You know, it's funny. It's actually the first time I ever sang in front of anybody was at my 6th grade talent show. We were doing a Blink-182 song, and everybody, it was like a big song at the time, so everybody knew it, and the microphone got unplugged right before we walked out. So I was just like going for it. I'm like, all right, thank God no one has to hear this, because I was like
perfect.
So because everyone just sang the song for me, and I was just up there playing guitar, and so maybe that little boost of like that could have been like a very like make or break moment.
Yeah.
I could have put the guitar
Lose
down
all your
and
confidence.
I could have like. It could have been a complete butterfly effect moment.
But it tested you, and you knew you had the guts to sing, at least.
That's true. Yeah, I was definitely like.
You had to break the ice.
Yeah, and maybe just having that little like, oh god, the first one wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
Maybe allowed the second one to ease in a little better. You know.
Every show, Ian goes and sabotages his mic. Oops, again.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I guess you guys are gonna have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was interesting, but it was cool. I knew right then though. Well, that's like what I want to do. You know.
Oh, you've got a fucking amazing like an amazing gift for it. I didn't realize how hard you worked on it though. I thought it was just natural talent.
Oh no, that's something people talk to you about a lot. It's like, oh, you know, just like it's none of this stuff is natural. It's
How many thousands of hours do you have on that thing?
In a
Rough.
lot. I mean, the 10,000 over. Many times over. I don't know
5,
how,
6, 7.
It's hard to say, but I mean, when I first was playing, I mean, I was playing. I didn't go out a lot when I like at times in my life in my childhood. So I just kind of stayed in my room and I played for like 5 hours every day for a long time.
I would imagine if you're just hearing it flow in all the time, and you're hearing these notes, and you're so connected to it. Like almost, how could you not be in that flow with yourself? Like,
it became like my
amazing.
escape. You know, it
I
became
can
like a
imagine.
but it's but I did it right from the beginning. So like when people started seeing me in little snippets playing for the first time, I mean, I picked it. I mean, I feel like I might have had like. What might have like helped me push in the right direction is like, you know, my dad knew a couple cowboy chords and showed me, you know, like and so like I got those really quick, like the right off the bat, like I was I think I just watched so much of it wanting a guitar for so long.
Oh wow.
That I was just like, I kind of just as soon as I got it, I put every bit of energy I had into it to like even that first time trying to make the chord, making it sound good. You know, and so like right off the bat, I knew like, okay, this is really hard. Like I gotta arch my fingers. This hurts.
Yeah.
You know, but like I sat there, and right from the get go, I sat there for hours and did it. Wow. So like I think that just I hit the ground running with it, and that oftentimes gets like overshadowed by just like, oh, you see somebody play and they've only been playing for like a month or two, you know, or like a year or two. And it's like, it's like there's an incredible amount I can't even describe to you about how much time and dedication I put into it. Like it's not a natural thing. I have things working in my favor that I have things working in my favor, you know, like with the ear that I took full advantage of, you know, and like so to turn into be the way I wanted to be, which is an extension of myself as a musician and an artist.
You know, when you were talking about like working at each one of the chords and notes and all that stuff, it's like you know, when you think about something, like you wrap your head around it all the time, like you literally can get better at something by just thinking about the movements and stuff like that. You'll get better at it without even practicing. Just
half the time, like if I'm talking to her and I like will zone off into La La Land, I'm sitting there just moving around my fingers in the fretboard. I'm practicing when I'm not playing all the time. Like almost, I'd say 80% of the time, I am consciously awake.
Wow.
You know, just like it's in the back. I'm thinking whether it's like I'm in the store and I hear this song, I'm deciphering what I could play over this thing, this chord progression that I'm hearing in my head.
You can't listen to music when
I don't
you
listen to
drive.
music when I drive.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up because this conversation is you don't listen to music when you drive. It's
too
like,
distracting. You're hearing
and we were actually talking about it on the way here.
Yeah.
We were talking about it on the way here because I was telling her about how I'm doing a gig up north and I got to drive a good chunk of time for it. And I wanted to like listen to an audiobook and she's like, I thought you can't, it's like hard for you. I'm like, it's not the same. It doesn't affect my motor functions the same way that like listening to music does. Like if I'm listening to somebody talk, I can still move all my hands and you know it's like. But if I'm listening to music, I'm just like my body goes into because when I'm using my full body when I perform, like with like switching things with my feet, using my hands to play, using my core and my head to sing. So it's like Bert from Mary Poppins. Everything's going on at once.
And sometimes you got a harmonica wrapped in
and then a harmonica too.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like it's especially when it's like music that I've never heard before. Like when it's like on like roulette, and like I'm with somebody like
it takes
because I'm like, what is this? I'm like I'm putting it through the processor, and I'm like, okay, what's the beat doing? How is it being recorded? Like, what's it's not just the notes, it's the timbre, it's like the miking of the instrument. You know, like I'm and like it's like that producer brain too, because I like to produce music.
Okay.
And so like and you know assist on producing with recordings and stuff. So I'm like,
you get lost in that
it's the whole
it's the whole enchilada
thing. Yeah, and so it's not
safe basically to drive.
No, it's not. It's like I mean it's like
it's too consuming.
It's just not suggested. You know, it's
Well, you're breaking down like when you hear a song, you're breaking everything down.
Yeah, it's just one of those things when it comes down to split-second decisions. If I'm caught in that moment, it could make or break something. So I just don't even.
You're driving under the influence.
I'm driving under the influence of music. I've never thought about it that way.
And Ian's also we talked about this. He's blind too, so like the cards are stacked against him to get home safe.
Yeah, and it's So it's something I'm careful with.
So you've had a pretty amazing that's just a good story. It's cool, like the beginnings and like all these people you've run across. So what's your favorite moment? What's the one that stands out the most? Is it Hendrix?
Favorite?
Just what's your favorite moment? What's
like,
the thing that like when you think back you're like, oh, that was fucking awesome.
Of him? Stuff he's done?
Like recent past.
I mean the Wrigley Field thing we did recently was amazing. That was like the band I go out and tour with, the Academy is. We got to do a show opening for Fall Out Boy at Wrigley Field back in June, I think it was, and so a couple months ago, and that was pretty
epic.
It was pretty cool.
Epic.
Yeah, she got to go with me, and it was really neat.
And you're a huge baseball fan too, so
yeah, I grew up playing, and
there's like meaning behind going to Wrigley Field.
I loved Rookie of the Year as a kid, and I grew up a Seattle Mariners fan because I grew up in the Seattle area, but the Cubs were up there. You know, it was during the whole Roger Maris home run race with Sosa and Griffey, and
they're such an epic. It's like an epic ballpark. You know what I mean? They've been around forever. They've
got
so much history.
Oh my god, yeah. And I've never been to a game. I've been to Chicago. I can't even tell you how many times. The band's from Chicago, based around Chicago. So, it was. I'd never gotten to go to a game. It was the same thing with Fenway. Like things always came up. We'd be in Boston, or I'd oversleep and not do the tour of Fenway. That happened a couple times. And I never got to make it to a game, and so for it to be like the first time walking into that field, and it was cool. I forget, was it you filming?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like it was just getting to walk onto the field. I never walked on a Major League Baseball field before, which was really cool. So it's like there's all these like firsts
We were there, nobody was there.
Nobody was there. It was like they're just building the stage up and like.
And you got a personalized jersey.
Yeah, they made jerseys for everyone.
And got to watch the Fall Out Boy show with just a couple of us in the dugout.
In the dugout. The whole thing was just amazing.
It was like, I wasn't even there, and I get goosebumps.
Yeah, it was. We brought a couple of our friends went too, and it was a really special moment. Like it was just like and like a few years before, especially like right before and during COVID, I was kind of like not sure that was ever going to be a thing I'd ever do again, go back out on the road and tour.
Oh.
And I didn't really know where I wanted to go with it, or if I was done, or if it was just like, because it's like a mixed.
Just crazy to think about,
Yeah, and it's just
what
like.
do you mean by done?
I mean, I just didn't know if it was like, if I wanted to go back out, it had to be like the right thing and the right conditions. And at the time, I didn't know what Academy was going to be doing.
Okay.
I didn't know what opportunities would kind of come up. So it was, or even if it was just what would come up, would it be something I want to do? Like I'm be very picky about it because it takes a lot. It's a lot to go out and do that. And if you're not doing it the way you want to do it, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Right.
To me, it's not.
Yeah.
Because you've been many places all over the world.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a good almost 9 straight years on and off the road, pretty.
That's a long time.
Straightforward, yeah.
Yeah.
And then other off the road, pretty.
That's a long time.
Straightforward, yeah.
Yeah.
And then other like that was like there was a run of about 9 years where I was out almost.
That was in your early 20s, right?
Yeah, late teens.
Or late teens.
Yeah, I started
Wow.
like 18, 19.
Wow.
So
And I was playing a lot before that, like in like the northwest sector of the country, but like I not like vans and buses,
You were touring a lot.
Yeah, turned into like real tours, like
Right.
30 show dates, or then moving into another tour right after that.
Oh wow,
and, like,
yeah.
So it's grueling and it's not as glamorous as people think it is. It's amazing, and I if you ever get the chance to travel, it's amazing. But there's things that come with it that you need. It's best ahead of time, because I didn't.
Like what?
Just the mental struggle of it, because it's not as glamorous as it comes off to people that don't
rock
do
and roll
it.
stars, but
It's
behind the scenes,
you miss your loved ones. You're sometimes with people you don't want to be with, and that make it extra difficult for you. And just that day in and day out, or like not feeling fulfilled in what you're performing. Has been a thing for me too, and not. And just there's a lot of different things, but it's a whole spectrum of good and bad. It's like you can have conditions where I find that like when it's very short runs of shows, those are the best, because like after a week or two, you're just like, it feels like a month or two. Like being on the road, like a couple days feels like a couple weeks. It's just like. Especially when you're in a different place every day, especially when you're partying, and like just kind of a little off kilter with your,
living in a slight blur.
Yeah, and it just all blends together, and that, it can, in a sense of where, when you don't know where you are every day, you wake up in a different place, like a different venue, different crew hosting you, like in some way, it just, it all kind of just can melt together sometimes. And, you can kind of.
When you're at Wrigley Field, are you like butterflies? Like, are you nervous playing that show, or is what was it like?
I was excited, really. I was stretching and doing fucking calisthenics before we got. I was like, let's fucking go. Like, I brought my guitar that another Stratocaster guitar that I have. It was like my first good guitar that my dad got me after I'd been playing for probably like a year and a half, 2 years, and he got me like a good Fender Strat. Like I just kind of been playing on this practice guitar, and he's like, and I had that guitar, and it was definitely like my 10,000 hours plus guitar.
Oh, wow.
It was the guitar I sat in once I got that, when I got an American Fender Stratocaster, I was just couldn't believe it. It was like,
wow.
And so I sat and played on that guitar forever, and it just like a leather glove, you know. And so I brought that guitar out with me to Wrigley, like, because I wanted it to kind of be like a full circle moment.
Oh wow!
So I had the first couple.
Wow.
I used it in and out of the set, and like it was cool just to like,
wow.
it's like just to be here with this instrument and all the
Wow.
time and sacrifice.
That guitar deserved it.
It deserved it, you know.
Powerful.
Old Blue deserved it, man.
Powerful
Blue.
manifesting moment, like you guys were talking about last week. Powerful manifesting moment. Yeah. Like
Yeah, it was
full
neat. It
circle.
was a very like my heart and soul felt very full
Soul-filling.
after that whole experience. It was really incredible. Feel very lucky to have been able to do it.
So in your illustrious career, like how many times have you felt like you're just mailing it in and not doing something that you're really attached to?
More so than not.
Really? So you're making your own music now. You got some originals that are getting ready to. Do you know when you're going to release them?
We're shooting. It's not too long. Probably like a couple weeks to a month.
Let's say there's a.
I don't know. I by the time this comes out, it might already be out.
There's a kick-ass video that goes with it. So when it does,
Yeah,
when
we
it
filmed
does
we
drop,
filmed
you
a
guys
video
gotta check
with
the video.
with Gladius,
Okay.
the show, and her and her horses, and
We got to come out and watch it. It was
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
badass. Like they had flamethrowers.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a wild night.
yeah, they had strapped up to the prop spinning around.
Can we hear some
Like-
of that song? Can we?
We'll probably wait for.
Okay, we'll wait.
We'll wait for the
What
release.
is it called again? What
The
is
song
it?
is called Space Horse.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
right.
Space Horse.
Space Horse.
Hashtag Space Horse, baby.
Looking out for
Yeah.
Space Horse.
But yeah, no, it's gonna be.
You've written four. You have four originals that you've got. Like
We've
laid out
recorded
and-
4. I got a lot of stuff in the bank that
Yay.
so this band is still kind of in its infancy, and we're
And your band now is Ian Crawford and Cosmic Miles.
yes, Ian Crawford
us
and
a-
Cosmic Miles.
Give us some insight, like what went into to picking the name, and like obviously your name's in there, but like the Cosmic Miles.
Yeah,
like,
it's well, I think there's a few things with it. It's I want the band in this like next chapter of what I'm doing to kind of break ground in some new directions of like personally what I've done, but also just in general. I want it to like explore. I don't want us to be like confined to a genre. We all come from various musical backgrounds. Our new drummer, Michael Hoffman, is a jazz major. Spencer, our keyboard player, he went to Berkeley, and so he's got like a lot of like fusion and jazz and funk chops, you know. So and then and our bass player Denny, he's just funky. He's just locked in, and he just knows the pocket. And so like I love blues, folk music, bluegrass. I'm a rock and roller. I know, at heart. So like and blues guy. So it's like all those little things kind of hodgepodge together. We're gonna explore a lot of territory. But I'd say like the first song, this one we're putting out first, has kind of an arena rock vibe to it.
Nice.
Kind of a bluesy, old school, new school kind of thing going on with it. But we have like stuff that kind of has a little more of a grunge vibe. A song that's a little more melancholy, soft.
So is that where like Cosmic?
So that's where Cosmic Miles comes from, but Miles is also my father's name and my middle name. So it was like kind of like more than anything, like when we were thinking of there was kind of a thing that happened, and we kind of needed to put together a band, and so when that happened, it just kind of like it was an opportunity for like a growth to happen, and I wanted it to really take advantage of that and like find like, so we were like Cosmic. I feel like that's just like the name in itself.
And allows room for jamming.
Yeah, it allows room for jam. Like we all love to jam. We all like as much as we love to sit and play 3-chord rock and roll, or it's like we're anything from like I said earlier, Green Day to the Grateful Dead. It's just like we're rocking out playing power chords, or we're getting into like spacey, jazzy, like weird psychedelic territory, like cheesing our effing brains out, kind of stuff. So like so I want it like and just like Miles kind of Cosmic, like it just, I think it shows a lot of or it represents a lot of like we can do anything and everything we choose to, you know.
And it's kind of cool, like if you think about traveling the cosmic miles, it's like
Right?
yeah, it's about like almost like mileage on an odometer of like, you know, like you like being richer for the experience. Like it's like a ride. And I want our music to kind of like be like you go and see us and it's like riding a ride.
Yeah,
you know, there's
of where you're at the time.
yeah, and it's just like, you know, and it's like Billy Strings does that. He takes the audience on a ride.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, what's the next thing to be? And you know, it's just like, because when you're just getting the same thing over and over, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's just like if some people just like having the Big Mac.
Yep.
You know, they just like having a Big Mac, and I'm just like, I'm gonna have a Big Mac. That's my burger. You know, and like, but that yeah, I don't know. So I think I want to like, while we are finding a sound, which I think we started to. We went into the studio 4 or 5 months ago and recorded 4 songs. I think that kind of started helping us find a direction because there is a lot of diversity in the songs, but it also kind of together has an idea of what it represents and what like there's kind of an epicenter, and we can branch off from various points of that epicenter, you know, into jazz land or, you know, like into grunge land.
Like you feel free to like do whatever you're feeling creative with.
Yeah, and allow the song to go where we want it to go.
It's a great premise.
And that can change in a live performance setting too, you know. It's
which
like,
is why we want to go see live.
Yeah, and I feel very strongly
Yeah.
about that. Like I don't when I was a kid, I remember reading an article, and it was like Jack White, like when the White Stripes were just like starting to get really big, and like
Jack White.
yeah, oh yeah, and he's like, if I wanted to like perform and I forget what was, and he's like if I was gonna play the song, I just go stand out there and just press play for you. You know, if I'm gonna play the song, like if that's what you want to hear, I'm just gonna go out and press play. It's something along those lines.
Did you ever see the Alan Jackson where he was they wanted to go out on, it was like for an award show, and they wanted to do a track. They wanted to do, like, he wasn't going to perform live, so he sent his drummer out. They went out there with their instruments. The drummer went out with no sticks, and then they played, and everything was exactly, but there's no sticks. It was just like an FU to the
Muse did the same thing on a South American TV show I saw where they switched instruments. They made them play to a track.
And so they're like,
and so they just you be the drummer, I'll go, you know, I'll be the guitar player, and it's like, oh, and if that were ever the case, that's probably what I would do.
Yeah.
I think I would mock the shit out of it because I think it's just absolutely.
You're professionals. You should.
I think it's just so. I mean, I understand that like in certain cases it's just like you can't get good quality audio, but then just don't have them perform. You know, it's like there's the reasoning for a lot of it is like, oh, we just can't get the audio.
So good.
Yeah, because they'll do mixes of it where like the band will be playing, but the vocals are on a track. I mean, they do all sorts of shit. You know, or a mix of it bled in. You know, it's like, I don't know, man. It's just like it's one of those things that like
at a certain point it's like fakery. It's like
it's Milli Vanilli.
I mean, sometimes
you know?
You're gonna add electronic into a band or a song. Yeah. Sometimes you're gonna have that, but if like they're not doing some kind of live performance, it starts to turn into like a mockery of its own self.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line of like where you can have something sprinkled in that like is like a part in a song that's like really needs to be there. Yeah. But there's like a fine line between like having that every once in a blue moon and just not hiring somebody to just do the stuff that should be in there.
Right.
You know, and I think that's like, and that's part of what we live in today, going even into like all the automated voice systems we have to deal with the bank and the car insurance and all this shit. You know, it's just like people find excuses to not pay other people, and there are more and more people. Oh. And so it's just like it's to me, I think it's a dampener on the whole thing. I think it's
a cool perspective about that.
I think that there are obviously there's exceptions to it, and I think different artists have like their performance is like, you know, some music is created electronically, and I could imagine some of that could be very hard to emulate, but somebody tediously made it, and I think that in itself is an art form.
Yeah.
Things that would be super incredibly meticulous to play, but I mean, I don't know. The stuff that I'm seeing is just like people could be doing this.
It's blatant.
People could be doing this. You could hire two
Nobody's
people.
even singing.
Two people with
Nobody's
sample
even playing
pads
a rhythm, right.
playing
Something.
the downloaded sounds that you want to do for your song, and you could give those people jobs.
Something.
These working musicians jobs. Give them a gig, a notable gig, instead of penny pinching, and it's just a very, and it's like, you know, most bands, and it's like it's business. It's businesses.
So
and I've been in bands that I would say are businesses over bands.
Wow.
So
you know, and I get that bands need to be a business, but at what point do you start to pull away that essence of what made you grab an instrument in the first place, or what it like, I don't know, and a lot of it is just, it's survival these days, because it's just a really hard industry to be in, and it's cutthroat, cut corner, and you know, I don't know the answers to everything, but I know that I like to play. I like when I play, people are hearing me, imperfections and all, and
what imperfections?
I mean that's just like, I mean it's just like, it's just, yeah, I mean it's just like it's like, it's not, it's human, and it's, you're right, it's like, you know, it's like Miles Davis used to say, make a mistake once, it's a mistake, play it twice, it's jazz. So it's like something, if I fuck up in a song, like, I'll do it again a lot of the time, to just, even if it's jarring to my ear, I'll be like, I'm fucking going for it. And I'm like, I'm gonna double down on the shit, and like, and be just weird as fuck, you know?
I'm gonna trust it.
Yeah.
We've seen some weird stage moments.
Oh yeah.
You know,
when Ian got smited and his guitar string snapped when the guy was walking by with the three-story signs about God.
Yeah.
And you guys were talking.
Oh yeah.
Someone
Joe was yelling out all sorts of stuff at him, and then
he ended up having his own PA where he yelled back, and he's like, they're all like, oh, wait a second, we didn't realize you had mine too.
Yeah.
That was funny. I forgot about
Las
that.
Vegas Strip.
In the middle of the next song, Ian's his string snapped, and he's like had to finish like literally like 4 minutes of the song with like one string hanging off.
Yeah, which happens sometimes.
And you couldn't even hardly tell.
It might happen. Right, it might happen in this podcast. I've been, you know.
I hope so.
You know, it might.
So I had a question about the studio. So how meticulous is it? How hard is it? Like you did 4 songs. How much time did you spend in the studio to knock out 4 songs?
We spent about 4 days.
4
Long
days.
days.
And, yeah,
Long days. And that was for various reasons. We took a little extra time. We had a couple people that were in there with us that it was a newer experience to them. So just kind of getting the feel for being in the studio and that mental state of mind. We took a little extra time to kind of
professional.
Yeah,
studio,
and it's
right?
you're in like treated sound rooms with like really nice outboard gear and, you know, top of the line stuff, and you know, it's like all the mics have to be played. It's like math, you know. It's like there's all this audio stuff, like has calculations and all these things that need to be just right. You can't like be tapping your shoe in the room with the mic, or it's gonna like come through and bleed through. You know, there's a lot of little meticulous things that, like, it's like probably any job when once you're on duty for whatever, like things are always gonna come up that you never expect. There's gonna always be like things are gonna malfunction, or things are gonna have to work. Something you're gonna have to work around some kind of problem. So there was a good amount of time trying to just get dialed in, which is like a common thing. The first day, usually if you're going into the studio to cut a couple tunes, you're gonna go in and you're gonna get the mics right. You're gonna figure out what amps you're using, what guitars you're using, like making sure, because you'll go in and have a plan, but you'll be like, oh, let me try that. I don't know if this is quite. When you hear it where it's gonna be forever, you know, it's like, well, why don't let's not use the Strat, you know, it's like it's like. You know, it's just kind of depends. You know, it's like you have to be kind of ready.
Nuanced.
Yeah, you have to be ready to kind of really chip away with a micro glass at the marble. You know.
Well, and you have skin in the game, because like you don't have sponsors that are paying for this. Like
we're doing this all out. Yeah, we're doing it all ourselves. You know, and so
it's.
Yeah, we're playing the casino circuit, and we're taking that money and we're like making music with it and trying to like get this thing off the ground. So
funded by Las Vegas tourism.
yeah. Thank you.
Las
Thank you, people of the world.
Shout out to the beautiful
For loving Las
peoples.
Vegas.
Yeah.
And for
You
loving
guys, get, you
Ian.
guys get some pretty solid local support too. Like there's
Yeah.
when you go out and see
Yeah.
guys, like you see a lot of the same
Yeah.
people showing up.
Yeah,
Like,
we
there's
try
a
to
lot
aim
of,
to
like,
please
local-
and that's and that's like why like for the majority of what we do, we play other people's material because like right now,
Right.
that's what we're doing because we're like it's a good way to win people over. We'll sneak some of our songs in.
It's
every now and
emotional,
then.
man. If I could connect with like
Yeah.
people get like that.
Oh man, it's like
how
every
everybody
time you
moves
hear
to a
something.
song, you're just like
Josie's on a vacation for people's and like just come running to the dance floor. It's like you learn to kind of know what people like and like and it's you just have and it's in the moment it helps in a lot of ways because it gives me and the boys like a steady paying job
yeah.
to like be playing where we're playing and like weekly and
Working together.
working
lots of
together.
hours,
It's like but we also like we have a safe place that we can try new material and it just keeps us in check and accountable and our chops up and which you gotta do in a rock and roll band when you're not relying on tracks or any of that stuff. We plug in and we play. If you're like we're out the night before and you're sluggish, you like the drums are gonna it's gonna you're gonna notice, so it's like so everything we do is very us to you. It's there's no
Direct.
it's very direct and it's like each one is like a fingerprint. It's like this. It can be the same song or roughly the same type of songs. We don't do set lists usually too. We just like try to aim to please what people
Vibe
like.
the room.
Yeah, and we'll be doing that with the originals too. Like
That's
we're
so cool.
You
just
guys
call
are-
them out and plug in and play rock and roll.
Yeah, you guys are
That's
special.
a
I've
perfect
seen it.
situation.
I've seen it at least like 3 or 4 times where it's like, oh, we haven't done that one before, and you pull it off like flawlessly. You're like, you
Yeah.
haven't done that before.
Well, yeah, collectively,
I'm
like,
like,
oh, do you know it? Do you know it?
alright.
Do you know it? And I love those moments. Like those
They're
moments are
amazing.
so
Yeah.
cool. And that's like it's kind of like having having multiple friends that you all found out they had a hidden talent each time.
And then you,
Like,
yeah,
oh, you know
and then
that one? Oh, I know that one. Let's go. It's like so and then you do it. It's like those first times you play those songs too. There's always like a little something special in them because it's just like, all right, here we go. We're trusting each other. You
Okay.
know.
It's fun.
So help me with your recall for music is ridiculous. Like you have a catalog that goes
Yeah.
like every time. Literally, if I wanted to go see you 3 nights in a row, I think you guys could probably do different songs every night without touching the same.
Yeah, I
songs.
would. I would. Yeah,
It's
I would
like by
agree with that.
request, you guys do lots of the same ones, but it's like you. So how much work is it to memorize this stuff? Is it
I
just
think
like
about
a
that. Like
cadence?
how many notes
Yeah,
are
you
they
like.
playing in
Right.
one show?
Yeah.
It's repetition.
Insane.
And a lot of these songs, a lot
Without
of these
looking at
songs
music.
are a result of that sitting in my room 10,000 hours. I've played these songs I've played these songs for over 20 years. So it's a matter of, I messed that lyric up a million times, changed. There's still ones there's some song I heard the other day, I'm like, oh, I've been singing that wrong for like 20 years. I hear that all the time. Cause I'm like,
Excuse me while
I'm
I
doing
just
this with
describe-
I'm like doing that with, I'm like learning, because I try to learn all the stuff as note for note as possible to like be really true to the song. Like if I'm playing Whole Lot of Love, I'm not going, I'm going, bending the like out of phase note. Rather, I mean, it's ever so subtle changes, but it's like, it's those things you hear in the recording when done right, you are harnessing the attitude of the recording, like knowing how it was done. I think it's all vibration. It's all string vibration. That's the attitude in it too. It's like the guitar being like ever so slightly out of tune in like a Clash song. That's how you hear it. So when it's played in tune, you're kind of like, oh, this feels kind of white bread to me. Or like Rumble by Link Ray, like it's like just that attitude, Or just kind of bends out of tune, and it's that like, and that's something deeper than the note. It's something.
Emotion.
It's like that next stage of evolution in music to me, from a page to the human
It's
condition.
even the energy. It's
Yeah,
like energy
and it's
vibration.
like what your body is putting in. It's the swagger. It's the attitude. It's like, and those things to me are so much more interesting to me than like all the things you can go around and do. Like it's just like if you can play everything like it would sound perfectly to a computer, that's really impressive. But like,
can you sell it?
But can you sell the? It's just like because it does it. Can you make it? Can you make it feel? Can you make it have a feeling? Like, and not to say that like every music has a feeling. Everything you experience creates a feeling, but something that's like moving, like a moving feeling, like where it's just like where your body starts moving and you don't realize it until it's already doing it. And that's the thing I look for in a show.
Like
is
the
not,
art of it.
especially once like if you ever go over and play in Japan, which the first time any musician ever does that is especially from Western culture, is like kind of weird because they don't. It's just like it's not like everywhere else. It's like they give you respect. They light night a little bigger than a golf clap across the board. Everybody, and then it's maybe you might get a little woo here or there. You might get one or two. And then
no panties thrown at the stage.
I don't know about that.
In Japan, the girls are a little wild.
Yeah, I don't know with the underwear machines over there. I don't know. Maybe I could see that, but it would be polite. It would be there. It would not be in a tornado of people.
It wouldn't be fired at you.
It would be like. I don't know. It would be polite. It would be like, here are my panties, thank you.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom and I'm gonna take these off.
Yeah, they might be folded.
Yeah.
I know it would not be like how it's happened because I've had bras on my mic stand. I've had when you're playing summer festivals and like hot sweaty people just throw clothes at you. But Japan. So like it's like you go over there and it's there's a respect factor. The nice applause calms down. They're ready for you. They're like, and it's the ultimate form of respect. So like that experience completely changed how. Anytime I'd be like back in the States playing or anywhere playing in a bar, playing in a blues bar, and people, no one's clapping, but are they moving? That's
I love that.
That's where
I love that.
I know that something's going right. If people, I don't have to hear a single applause or anything and then usually I'm not even listening for that. It's just like I'm watching people move.
Wow.
And if you're getting in the groove, playing a really good just a good pocket groove, and it's swinging, or grooving, then like you see people just talking to each other, just like it's like almost like a subliminal hypnosis thing, where you like a snake charmer thing, and people don't even realize they're doing it. And it's like that to me says more than any hand clap or anything.
I watched you guys perform at it was at the Plaza, and I can't remember what song came on, but I shit you not, there was like the oldest people in the room got up, like one had a cane, and he was shaking his cane in the air, dancing
while we were playing.
Dude, it's like that's what music elicits from people.
Yeah,
like it has that.
Oh yeah, and it's those people that come up to you crying. And it's what you could be just playing somebody else's song, but it's like I had never heard that song done like that.
It was like a cotton club, It was like most of the older people in there. Like we were the young, like we were kind of the younger people.
Yeah.
But dude, when the music got going though, it's like all these old people, like they found there's certain songs, they didn't dance to all of them, but there were certain songs that they were like, didn't matter how bad a shape they were in, that made the music made them want to move. Like
I have a really cool story. Because I've also taught music for about 20 years.
Oh wow.
Almost 20 years, and I had a student. His name is Ron Morgan, and he was a retired Army vet and lived alone. He wanted to learn to play the bass. So he came in the shop one day. He was just the nicest guy. Had he just had the best spirit. You could tell, but he was like older gentleman, lived alone, and needed something to do. I think he had some family like kind of close by that would kind of check in on him every now and then. But he wanted to come in and take bass lessons. He had like a little bit of his VA fund or something, and so he had a little bit each month to take bass lessons. And so after like a couple weeks, and he just was everything. He's just like, man, this is cool, dude. Like this is so much fun. Like he was just loving it. And I was like, well, let's get you up on stage. And so we played Managed Boy by Muddy Waters, and I just had him go the whole time, like, all I gotta do, like, he's just like, let's get you on stage, that's the goal, and just play one note, just boom, I'm go boom, 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 you know, anyway, just that's the whole thing, like, all I gotta do is just ride that G, just keep going. And the look on him, like, it changed his life, you know, he was like probably at the time like 76, 77 years old, and just the pep in his step, and every lesson for a year or so afterwards that we worked together, he just like it changed him, you know, and that just that movement. He's like, I can't believe like I got up and did that, and it's like I'm trying to get her up on stage with me. She's a performer, you know. I'm trying to get her up on stage with the violin to play with the band, and you know, and it's just like it's one of those things. You take the jump, and it's like. It's so rewarding, and it's like it's on both sides, like seeing people do it, but also like just like I know I had people do that for me, and like when you get up on stage, it's like, God, this is like where I want to be.
You're like taking a black and white life and adding color to it, like it's and it's a completely like I think for a lot of it varies with people. I think a lot of people want to be on stage for very selfish. Ego reasons, and I think that like there's something like when you just want to be up there because it's like you could be anywhere. It's like you just holding your instrument and you are now connected. You're locked in, and it doesn't matter who's there. It doesn't matter who's applauding. It's just like people are you're just doing what you do, and that to me is like just. I'm very thankful for that. Well, dude, you make a life
because I often forget people are there. Yeah, I just it goes away. I mean, you know, just like it's just like I'm somewhere with the help of my bandmates that is allowing me to tap into something I like a new like same only different experience that I've had many times before, but I'm gonna take a different avenue on the neck this time. I'm gonna try to get all these different things. And that freedom, that like liberating feeling, and also just that camaraderie, you know, and trust in your bandmates is like when done right is such a wonderful thing, like unanimously. When it's like coming together. It's like the Power Rangers coming together and forming the Megazord. You know, it's just like all right, let's fucking go. Like, and that's like. When it's done right, but when the Megazord falls apart, it's not.
Well, that's a powerful feeling.
Yeah. It is. It's really, and it's kind of the
instinctively.
It's the only. It's definitely the what I use to connect spiritually and that's how. My interpretation of anything and everything spiritually comes through this, and that's how I was introduced to it. Like I wasn't like my family, we weren't churchgoers growing up or anything, but like I would go with friends sometimes, and you know, like I never personally got much out of it, other than just be kind to people, and like common. But those are things that my parents instilled in me from an early age that I'm kind of like, okay, well, I know you're supposed to be respectful and kind of people. I didn't need to come here to learn that. It's I found that just like there's like something greater and bigger in myself. I've found through just basically making myself one with this.
Yeah, it's an extension of your.
It's in terms of like body, mind, soul. It's like the port key to like purpose. To a higher understanding.
It's a channel.
Yeah, and there are times, and I've told her this, like I've had a few different moments, and this has only happened maybe like 3 or 4 times ever, where I've been like with a band and just really locked in and doing something, and I'm like playing something, and I just am not playing it.
Whoa.
You know, like my hands are doing something, and I'm doing something that I've never played before. You know, it's like I'm just watching. I'm the spectator, and that's happened like 3 or 4 times in my life. I'm like,
wow.
Where I've had that moment where and I know when it's coming. It's a weird thing. It's
Really?
like it's a weird like I'm like I know when and there's been a couple times where you almost get there and you don't.
Jimmy's like, can
Yeah.
I borrow you for a
Yeah,
second?
you get
I want to feel that.
you get the musical cock block, you know. And it's like it's like, and but there's like, but you feel it, and like something is. I definitely feel like I like. I guess channeling is. I don't know what it's called, but like that's like I definitely get in these things where I kind of, I'm somewhere else. But I'm still like in control of what I'm doing. But like what I'm doing as a whole is somewhere else.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
Like but that like that 1% of the time that happens is very strange.
Wow.
It's very and it's not necessarily like in a good way. It's very like Freaky Friday shit.
Really.
So like that, and I remember the first time it happened. I was the first time I ever did a stadium tour, and I had a moment and we were like the opening band on the stadium tour, and I had a moment where the band kind of took 30-40 seconds, and we did like a Eruption, Eddie Van Halen type thing where like the band just goes like hit a big note and I just wail on the guitar and just have a moment. And I remember, and so I don't ever write out solos. Like everything I do is improvised. Like I'll like remember like if I'm playing a solo from something I know, I'll play like the memorable parts.
Okay.
But
you'll riff off.
I'd riff off
the
of
bass.
that. Oh, and I always like try to keep it different because
Yeah.
if somebody's listening to like a video of it, I don't want it to sound the same and everything. We're not a cookie cutter type band.
Yeah.
We're like I want to be that band that like you collect the tapes to like because every night's different.
Yeah.
And that keeps it interesting for the spectators. It keeps it interesting for the band. But yeah, those like, and it was during that like a little solo moment I had in a stadium full of people. And that was the first time, and I remember I was playing my Gretsch White Falcon, and I was just like, my hands were doing something in a different rhythm and cadence than I've ever done, and I'm just looking at it. And I was
That
what the
is
fuck is going like, and then I kind of snapped back into it.
Who's driving right now?
Yeah, it's exactly it. Like, who fucking took the wheel for a second? But then you watch what you do, and I'm
It's
like,
like
oh, I'm gonna try to
out-of-body
figure out how the fuck I did
experience.
that. and then you sit there for a couple hours after the gig, and
You're trying to figure out how you did what you did.
trying to figure out what was that, like.
So I have a question about synesthesia. We didn't hit on that, but
Yeah.
So you have a mile format.
I don't even really. I've never really been diagnosed. I just know what I experience. And my sister, I found out in recent years, who's not musically trained, but she has it as well, where certain things make her feel and see colors. Like the way that I tell people about it, like we're talking right now, and I see you, right? But if I'm looking at you, like, oh, imagine a tree. You can see the tree, right?
Right.
So like, it's the same way when I'm playing like a note or a chord. It's like a frequency of color that I see in my like I feel it. I see it.
You have your eyes closed to see that, or
No.
you just
I
open,
see
you
it right
see
now.
it?
Yeah, like if I'm, it's like certain notes. It's just like a color spectrum. Certain notes and chords create certain feelings that represent a color.
Wow.
Is how I know how to describe it.
So you have like double feedback. You've got your ear that's got perfect pitch, and then you've also got colors that can tell you if your pitch is like where it's
Kind of, yeah. It's like a feeling. It's like it's. I don't think like, oh, it's blue. Code red. It's blue. Like no, it's like
We missed that
it's supposed to be
note.
green. We're alright. Like code red. No, it's not like it's like. I don't know. It's very hard to describe because it's like in the same way that it's hard to describe the tree that you're seeing.
Yeah.
Like, but you're still looking at it, right?
Yeah,
you're
you
seeing
see
it.
it. Yeah, you got
You're
it.
seeing it right now, but we're seeing each other. So it's there, but it's not like hey,
It's subtle. It's subtle.
It's not like
It's like
It's peripheral.
B flat, motherfucker.
It's B flat.
I'm kind of bluish.
That's funny. That's so funny.
I was curious because
You just created a whole new character for a children's show, I think.
when I do mushrooms, I can sometimes like every now and again like a loud noise will come on like a speaker or something where it like startles me, and when that loud noise comes on, I see in my field I see like a big blur, and it's got like many different colors, and like, but it's like rainbows, but differently rearranged.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so is that, am I, like, if I could identify that color, if I could always see that, would I be able to identify a note that was being played, or like, how would that
Yeah,
work?
I think, well, I mean, I think so. I don't know for sure. I think I only know from my personal experience and my training and dedication to my instrument what I know is possible of what I can do. Because a lot of people tell me like, oh, I can't sing, I can't, like, I think everybody can sing. I think everyone can. It's just a matter of taking the time. Some people need more time to learn how to do it than others. And I think everybody can do it. And I think everyone can learn how to sing in pitch. I think everybody is a lot more vibrationally conscious than they realize.
Yes.
You're
so
much
that
more tuned than your
so
eyes.
and I just got luck, and I think that the only reason that the door got a little more open for me as a kid is because, like I was saying earlier, because I grew up with very poor vision. Like the first 5 years of my life, everything was like, if you try to like out of focus your eyes or put on someone's glasses and you can't, like it looked like that. I learned how to sense things and like. And I still have that thing. I have very weird select hearing. Like I pick up weird stuff that most people don't, and it's like vice versa. Sometimes I'll hear somebody will be like, "Gee," I'm like, no, I didn't really like. But I have like some high end hearing loss from years of loud amplifiers, and.
Do you wear earplugs when you play?
Very rarely. It takes me out of it. I don't. I'm very careful about my.
I always felt that way.
I'm very careful about my. I do wear, so like in gigs where I have to wear in-ear monitors, I have a custom made one where it's just one mono ear, so I can still, because it takes me out of the experience having both ears in. I can't like play a rock show and feel like I'm listening to an iPod.
So how do you offset for the like, what are you doing to protect your hearing? Or is it just like kind of crapshoot and hopefully you don't lose it, but you're gonna to stay in it?
I mean, I'm very conscious of my stage volume, or angling an amp so it's not. It's more just like, it's more just about making sure that nothing gets too out of whack, or I'm not too, or if I'm near a drummer and it's really loud. Like I think a lot of it too is like a lot of the guys I'm playing with they're such great players. They're really dynamically conscious, or up to like what's going on. So I'll know like when I can go over kind of close to the drum set, like, and I'm not getting my ear blown out. So it just kind of, I'm conscious of it, but I also, it's one of those things I'm like,
it's risk reward type of thing.
Yeah, because I know that like. I think I'll know when. I think I'm hoping, like, fingers crossed, like, and while I'm in like going into like maybe like through my 40s when I can still be like fairly agile if I take good care of myself, like running around on stage and playing, like I feel like there will come a time where I'll like not be when my physical body kind of slows down and I'm not as agile. I'll be able to kind of sit and chill and adapt to that.
Yeah.
And I could probably do that. But like for right now, like I know that there is a lot of dangers in that. I mean, I've had a couple close calls where somebody, like a sound guy, turned a pack up too loud and shut him. It's like I could remember there was one time I couldn't hear for like 3 days.
Oh my gosh.
On my right ear. And that's the thing, another reason why I don't like to wear ear monitors, because you get technicians, you get inexperienced technicians or lazy,
wreck your ears.
Reckless people that which doesn't happen very often, but I've had it happen enough times to where that's caused more ear damage than any loud amplifier than I've ever
I was
had.
talking to somebody at the Dollar. She was saying that
she got major damage.
Major damage, like she had to like put this in no noise.
Yeah.
Like it was really interesting.
Yeah, I just found out about
Horrific.
Feels like Ian's soul just dropped into this lifetime. As much as you need to practice at something, it just seems all
part of your soul.
so miraculous. It's just
Yeah, I mean,
the colors and hearing the notes and, you know.
Yeah, but I
feeling into the art of it.
Yeah, I mean, I going back into that whole thing we were saying earlier, though, a part of me still feels like with enough dedication, people could really like hone in on it. I just think I got it a little easier than most. Like I think people can become just in general vibrationally sensitive, and to me, the way I experience music and the pitches and pulling them and knowing what they are, it's all one and the same. I don't see how if somebody's like, whether that's like how somebody on paper would classify it as relative pitch, being able to pull something out. I think over time you do it and you dedicate enough time to it, you can be sensitive to any pitch. I really, I could be wrong.
No, your hearing is so much like when your eyes. If you take the color scale and you move one shade, your eyes can't see it. But if you did that with hearing, on the same scale, with you notice the noise and the difference in noise.
And if you put anybody in any type of different setting that's completely what they're not used to long enough, they're gonna adapt to it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like I think that's why I think maybe that this could be something that lies dormant in just about all of us.
Oh, interesting.
It's just like I just happen to have the right chain of events happen with my vision. And I don't know. It could just be like, because I've seen things where it's like 1 in every 250,000 people's born with it, but then those people have to be musically trained to know that they can do it. And like music is just, it's a creation of us. Like it's just like, it all boils down to vibration. It all boils down to vibration. Everything.
The inside of an atom literally it's vibration. It's that
quantum entanglement. Like everything boils down to that. So I don't see why at some point it just kind of feels like music is there's a rule, like music, and it's on paper, like how we structure it and do these things is great. It's amazing. It's created some incredible pieces of art and throughout just countless, like
tracking.
Yeah, just it's like for as far back as time goes, like it's like rhythm, and like, but like there's something I think that I think that you have to have kind of an open mind to look past the page. Even whether you want to do that a lot or a little bit, I think you have to do it a little bit because it will take a cookie cutter thing and like shave it into its own unique snowflake.
Yeah.
So being able to move somebody.
Yeah, and yourself.
Yeah. Being
able to be out of the confines of something, but like do it with respect to what you're working with. Do it in a way that's like, if I play a note, bending the note as opposed to sliding into the note. And those things can be put on a musical page, but there's little teeny tiny attitude things that can be very, very difficult to that they come from within you. Yeah. It's the difference of two musicians in the same in the same category, similar style, but we know no two people play exactly the same. So it's like it's just that it's important to lean into that.
Yeah.
I think as a musician, I mean, it also depends on what your purpose of what you do is. If you were there to just play what is asked and be part of something bigger, there's that too, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
But I think if it's something where it's like a personal journey with your instrument, whether it's in from the safety of your own home or to the masses or somewhere in between, doing those things for yourself are such a beautiful thing to help you learn about yourself. How you express yourself through this thing that everybody has the same tools, same strings, but how can I make it a little, how can I with guitar, when in guitar players, a lot of the times that comes out of like vibrato. Like the way that this this guitar player is gonna bend the note. Or a little stuttery thing, or the vibrato is very much your fingerprint. As a player, and in a lot of ways, not always, but like in a lot of guitar players that bend strings and do that stuff, just.
That that is interesting.
And that's
yeah.
all vibration,
yeah,
vibrato, you know?
yeah.
It's your
yeah,
personality's in there
their
somewhere.
vibrato, and that's
Yeah.
always what gets me. Yeah, is the way that they bend their strings or create that vibrato. I'm like,
yeah.
wow.
So
it pulls me in.
As you're talking about your journey and like sacrifices and the way the world's been, like you've had your trials and tribulations with drugs and alcohol. You made a change that, like in the last couple of years. What's that change been like, and how has it impacted you?
It's been amazing. It's been wonderful.
What drove the decision?
Just wanting to be the best version of myself,
Nice.
especially being with her.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen remarkable. I mean, you're not gonna toot your own horn, so I'll do a little bit for you. But
Yeah.
you've busted your ass in
Yeah.
the last couple of years to like turn yourself, like become that best version of yourself, and you're putting in the work, man. Like a lot
Thanks.
of work. Like,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah.
Appreciate
Kudos,
it.
So-
kudos to
Yeah.
you on that.
And you guys are opening up a guitar shop.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tell us
damn.
about this for a little
Yeah,
bit, a little quickie, if it's okay.
So yeah, and actually, I haven't really talked about it publicly yet, but
Okay,
Sin
okay.
City Strings and Musical Things
What-
will be coming to Las Vegas in November.
Say it again.
Sin City Strings and Musical Things.
I love it. I
That's
love
awesome.
it.
So you guys this is vintage guitar, and you guys are going and collecting all this stuff. These are parts of your collection already.
We've been over the last few months like building up inventory and like something to kind of present to open up a shop, and it's really exciting.
Like, what's the shop going to look like? What's it going to be? How's it going to be unique from?
We're gonna be appointment only. Is kind of a big difference between like us and like a Guitar Center or Sandbox or
sure.
something. I wanted to just kind of be like a musical haven for like all the local people here, and like a place like where people can like really have like they can come in, make an appointment, and just like look around and be like, oh, this guitar speaks to me. I don't have anybody else, like around. I can sit there, have a moment, find some cool, unique stuff that's not like straight out of a CNC machine factory. Like all this new mass-produced stuff, like old guitars. Some of them really clean and pristine. Some of them have been a little, like player grade or like worn, loved. But they have a story and they have like a vibe to them. So like that's like I really want it to be a place where people can like really have the like just the what's the word, like I guess just like an intimate time finding their instrument. And it's also going to be a spot where we can record and like I'm gonna use it kind of as a base for the band. We're gonna have a little recording studio in there, so I'm gonna like demo a lot of our stuff, and so we're always gonna we'll probably have a rehearsal room in there at some point too that we'll rent out for bands need to practice, like a separate unit. But we're right now we're just focused on like having a place where we can have a bunch of cool gear and people people just can come down and kind of shoot the shit, and it's just something a little different that Vegas doesn't have right now. Vegas, there was a great shop here.
So many musicians here.
When I first moved here, Cowtown Guitars, and sadly Cowtown's not
They're
around
gone.
anymore. And
Yeah.
I moved back here, and I'm like, man, I saw an opportunity to like bring something really cool to the community, and that's what we're gonna try and do.
Are you going to do lessons at the?
I'll be teaching out of there as well. Yeah, and I mean a couple other my friends that are great guitar players, and
cool.
and probably some bass players and maybe drums depending on what we do. But we'll keys, drums, bass, or keys, guitar, bass.
Somebody wanted to get a hold of you and book you. How'd they feel about that?
Well, just keep an eye out for Sin City Strings and Musical Things, or you can go on my Instagram, Ian Crawford Guitar, and but we'll have stuff up real shortly. We're getting ready we're doing all the promo and just all that stuff's here soon.
Big
So
things.
it's coming along. No, it's good.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys! I feel like I'm sitting with a soul, like just this big bright soul.
That was beautiful, man.
Very
That was like, is there
special,
anything else that you wanted to bring up? I feel like we hit
No.
the major things that I wanted to get
Very
through.
sacred.
No,
You know, if you
keep
wanna
an eye out for Gladys the Show and Space Horse.
There's actually maybe there is something you can decide if you want to dig into it or not. You talk a little bit about your spirituality and your connection through like the channel and like, tell us a little more about your spirituality. Like, since this is observing consciousness and we're all about spirituality.
I know. Like,
I feel like it was music first for me, but also just like love with somebody that, you know, you care about more than anything, and especially when you have those two things going well at the same time, that was really a big channel opening for me to like really experience both bigger, amplify both of them bigger, and it's taught me a lot, or it made me understand, I think, a little more about just what is, you know, and what we are, and how we all connect, and how, like, you know, so I'm just kind of on that journey right now of really trying to, I don't really feel like the need to fully understand it, you know, it's just like, but I'm like a very like curious individual. I'm more just like, I'm exploring it. I'm exploring like what, you know, what it's like the little senses that we have with each other when people pick up, you know, like it's just like, you know, you think about someone you haven't thought about in a long time and they call you.
Yeah.
You know? And so like, so like those things, and like why those things are, yeah, and just like, and it's just kind of like getting myself out of the old way of, like the way, and everyone's way is different, but the way that we were brought into the world and conditioned, because most of us don't break out.
We're sinking into a lower vibration that really, you know, is kind of like, you can vibrate at a certain level, and sometimes we get pulled, being everything is vibration, you know, being empathetic and so tuned into vibration, you can easily take those rides and those journeys of being sucked into different vibrations, and then you start getting around more high vibrational people again, you know, and then it starts to amplify your entire vibration, and that's happened for all of us, I feel like, as we've all been connecting too. It's just something to notice, and it's just something interesting as you're relating your journey right now.
Yeah, and it just
like, yeah.
No, sorry. It just kind of it kind of winks at you more, harder. You know, it's just kind of like it like of like what's all going on around you, because I think there's a lot more going around us all the time that most of us just don't sense, we don't see, we don't feel, because we are distracted, or we ego is a huge one.
It's so loud that you can't.
Oh, that drowns out a lot of stuff, and we all have an ego. You know, we all have.
It's what's there to protect.
It's just what it develops into.
Yeah, it's
and,
not. It's,
and what it, you know, it's an entity in itself, and you know, so it's just.
Well, the ego is there to protect you, but it, like when it misunderstands like what it's the input is, like what kind of love that it's like, oh, this love is like, it's judgmental, but you think that's what loving somebody is. You say I love you, and then you talk shit about them. You know, that's you develop that idea of love, and you try to pass that around, because this is what love is. Yeah. And you're like, I'm just trying to show you my love, like by telling you all the things that are wrong with you.
I had a whole thing about ego yesterday, a whole realization. But that's like what, our next episode? We're gonna do a whole episode.
So we're digging into that experience.
We're digging into
ego.
Yeah, but I mean, if there's something you want to share.
Well, just overall, it was, I was asking for help on trying to be the best at what I do with my horses in particular. And it was just like, you have to take your ego completely out. And I'm like, well, I have, but it's like, no, like, gone. Like, completely out. Like, you're a curious, like, sponge. Like, no, there is no, like, attachment. Like, it's got to be gone. So I was just like getting feelings of like what that would feel like, and I was like, this is actually like where I need to go.
Surrender.
You know, it was cool. So I'm excited to work with that.
I love, Ian, how you're always coming back to the senses.
Yeah.
And how you describe the senses and how you experience the senses. Is that really kind of being your church too?
Yeah.
Really kind of being like.
It's always made me, you know, growing up, I didn't really have anybody to really relate to about it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I always felt very kind of just different, you know, because it was like with what I was doing, it just hit me, it just all kind of clicked on it, like not intentionally. I didn't really know what I was dealing with. Just the same way I didn't know I was hearing B flat to C, you know, like that we were talking about at the beginning. It's just, but just knowing it's there and kind of understanding it, and then being curious and diving into it is fascinating.
It called to you. It just sounds like
yeah.
it was just something.
And you got to answer. I think it calls to everybody. I think
Really
it's just
called to
you gotta really.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just don't seize opportunity.
Well,
yeah,
you out of fear
but
of
not everyone's
losing,
meant
out
to
of
be
blue.
you
Yeah.
either,
You-
Ian,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
they're
no
just
one's.
not-
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And I think we all have our moments in time.
Yeah.
And our
If you think about it though, like
Yeah.
the fear of missing out on something, if you dedicate so much time to a craft, like something else is being given up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
have to sacrifice, and it's like, you know, for pure love of what you do, it makes sense. But something is being sacrificed because you could be spending your time doing some other thing that
Mhm.
maybe just as beneficial in, you know, some healing way for you
Yeah.
as what music can do. But at the same time, you'll never really know because it's
So you could be baking
dedicated
banana
so much
bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
In
it's
an
a
alternate
fascinating-
universe, I'm so above where I got
Okay.
my stop point. Sorry.
Ready to wrap it up?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. I
No,
gotta-
that's good. That's
Um,
good. We love you, Ian.
all right.
Yeah, thank
Can
you guys so
we-
much for having me. Yeah,
Thank
it
you
was
so
wonderful.
much, Ian,
Yeah.
for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Namaste.
All right.